May you find happiness and peace, and may your home stand the test of time.
Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mary. Today I'll be reacting to Riley Gaines gives emotional opening statement at LGBTQ hearing. So without further ado, let's get started.
Good morning, Senators. My name is Riley Gaines, and I'm an advisor for Independent Women's Voice. I recently graduated from the University of Kentucky, where I was a member of the UK's women's swim and dive team. I proudly finished my career as a 12-time NCAA All-American, a 5-time SEC champion, the SEC record holder in the 200 butterfly, making me one of the fastest Americans of all time, a 2-time Olympic trial qualifier, SEC Scholar Athlete of the Year, and SEC Community Service Leader of the Year. But all of that to say that it's a lifelong journey competing at that level, and it's impossible to put into words the amount of sacrifice and dedication that it takes. On March 17th of 2022, my teammates and I, as well as female swimmers from universities around the country, were forced to compete against biological male Leah Thomas. Thomas was allowed to compete in the women's division after competing as a member of the University of Pennsylvania's men's swim team for 3 years as Will Thomas. We watched on the side of the pool as Thomas swam to a national title in the 500 freestyle, beating out the most impressive and accomplished female swimmers in the country, including many Olympians and American record holders, by body lengths. Previously, Thomas had been ranked 462nd at best in the men's division the year prior. The next day, I raced Thomas in the 200 freestyle, which ended up in a tie. We went the exact same time down to the 100th of a second. Having only one trophy, the NCAA handed it to Thomas and told me I had to go home empty-handed. And when I asked why, which was a question they were not prepared to be asked, I actually appreciate their honesty, because they said, Thomas, it was crucial Thomas had it for picture purposes. Thomas had to have it for the pictures. I felt betrayed. I felt belittled. I felt reduced to a photo op. But my feelings didn't matter. What mattered to the NCAA were the feelings of a biological male. In 1972, Congress enacted Title IX to end unjust sex discrimination in all aspects of education, including college athletics. But by allowing Thomas to displace female athletes in the pool and on the podium, the NCAA intentionally and explicitly discriminated on the basis of sex. Although the NCAA claimed it acted in the name of inclusion, its policies in fact excluded female athletes, which are the very female athletes whom Title IX was passed to protect. But that is not all. In addition to being forced to give up our awards and our titles and our opportunities, the NCAA forced me and my female swimmers to share a locker room with Thomas, a 6'4", 22-year-old male equipped with and exposing male genitalia. Let me be clear about this. We were not forewarned we would be sharing a locker room. No one asked for our consent, and we did not give our consent. And I'll set the scene. A swimming locker room is not a place of modesty. You're undressing, you're fully exposed, and we were forced to take off our swimsuit in front of a man who was doing the exact same thing. If nothing else, I truly hope how you can see this as a violation of our right to privacy, and how some of us have felt uncomfortable, embarrassed, and even traumatized by this experience. I know that I don't speak for every single person who competed against Leah Thomas, but I know I speak for many, because I saw the tears. I saw the tears from the 9th and 17th place finishers who missed out on being named an All-American by one place. And I can attest to the extreme discomfort in the locker room when you, from these 18 to 22-year-old girls, when you turn around and there's male eyes watching in that same room. And I can attest to the whispers and the grumbles of anger and frustration from these girls who, just like myself, had worked our entire lives to get to this meet. And I can attest to the fact that around the country, these female athletes who opposed the inclusion of Leah Thomas in the women's divisions were threatened, intimidated, and emotionally blackmailed into silence and submission. But unfortunately, our experiences are not unique. The number of female athletes who have been denied opportunities, traumatized, or hurt by policies that claim to promote inclusion is growing at an alarming rate. I hear these female athletes and their parents. I hear from these people who are seriously injured, one with permanent injuries that will plague the rest of her life because she was forced to compete against a much physically stronger man. This is unacceptable, and the integrity of women's sports is lost. It's unfair, it's discriminatory, and it must stop. Women's rights to privacy, single-sex spaces, and opportunities are being encroached on. Sports, sororities, locker rooms, dorm rooms, shelters, prisons. Some have tried to tar those of us speaking up for women's safety, security, and opportunities as transphobic or bigoted, and this is untrue. I've heard from people within this community, gay, lesbian, and trans-identifying Americans, that agree females should not be asked to step aside and make room for male-bodied individuals no matter how they identify. Defending women's rights is not anti-anyone. Believing in biology is not bigoted. And following the science that there are only two sexes and that there are very real and important differences between the two sexes is not hateful, it's fact. I'll end with a quote very briefly from tennis legend Martina Navratilova. There will always be significant numbers of boys and men who would beat the best girls and women in head-to-head competition. Claims to the contrary are simply a denial of science. I thank you guys for listening, and I truly hope you heard my story.
Thank you, Ms. Gaines.
Wow, guys, I'm touched by her statements or her claim, but this is it's true. But I feel the organizers would have done a better job by providing a different, dress room for the both gender, because you can't give or ask them to compete and you expect them to change in the same room. Well, a whole lot of people respect their privacy and they don't want to be in a situation whereby they don't feel comfortable, even if they are competing with male that are actually built differently, which I know we are built differently. Even if you decide to switch your gender, if you're male, because you see that strength will definitely remain there. You might decide to switch some other things in your body, but our physical strength remains there. And I feel her pain when it comes to the award. I feel if two people decide to compete for a particular award, it's because they believe they can win. Just like the World Cup that ended in what do they call it, in penalty, and at the end of the day, Argentina won. You can't say simply because it ended in penalty, then you should just give it to one team and forfeit the other one. So long as they decide to compete and they end up drawing or they end up, yes. You have to make sure you provide the means to make sure that the both parties go home happy, because you don't expect a lady to go into a swimming competition or whatever competition with a man and win, then you tell her to go home simply because you feel the man will be good on the pictures or whatever. It does not really make sense. There are better ways to explain it. You can tell her that, okay, since we have one award, we are definitely going to create another one, or you can keep the award, then create something for draw. So it won't look like you are giving this person different award or this person different award. You can just make up something. You guys are in charge of the competition. Whatever you do, stand. So because I will feel bad if I'm in her position, because I can't work my ass out, keep on training myself to be the better version of myself, and when I feel I deserve an award, you decide to deprive me of it simply because of my gender, or simply because you feel the other person will look more better in picture or whatever. It's not fair. There are better ways to handle the situation, and I'm glad she brought it up to the judges. I want them to at least look into the matter, because where I know the organizers would have learned their lesson by now, and they would have been looking for a way to resolve the issue outside court. And I wish they will put things into consideration for the next competition. At least give the lady their own dressing room, give the male their dressing room, and give other genders their dressing room. You see, because it will go a long way in helping everyone respect their privacy, because I don't want to be in a situation whereby I won't be able to take off my dress simply because I have the other gender staring at me. And I know ladies won't want to feel the same way. So they respect their privacy. So give them that opportunity. Or better still, let the ladies go in first, do their changes. Or you can let the guys go in first, because I think the guys will be a little bit quick about it. Then I give the lady that time to change and do other things. If that's the only dressing room you have, it will help. You don't just expect both parties to go in there simply because they are competing for the same competition. They are built differently, and a whole lot of people have things they don't want the other gender to see. Anyway, I love this so much. I felt bad about what happened to her, and I would appreciate if the judges will look into this matter critically. I know it got to a certain point she broke down emotionally, and our ladies are so emotional. So the way you treat them determine how you want them to feel the next time. I feel when it comes to sports, I feel ladies don't really participate in it. So if you have opportunity of seeing some ladies, participating, let's just find a way to encourage them so that they will, come out in their numbers to participate. Because if you check football, for example, the rate at which men love watching football is different from the rate at which women love watching football, especially in my country. We kind of appreciate, women will love football. So when you see a lady, striving to go into sports, to participate, to win, to compete with men, then I think give them that opportunity. Give them the Z to come back for more. Anyway, well, let me know what you think in the comment section. If this is your first time visiting the channel, click on the subscribe button. Thanks for watching and remember blessed.